Alright, so I heard you guys love to play with your run and gun playstyle, but whenever you do so, you end up dying all the time. But what if I tell you you can use this build and still, use your run and gun playstyle, but don't die? Does it sound too good to be true? Let me explain what I mean by it. Well, if you haven't guessed it already, we're using the Hunter's Fury gear set, which is literally the best gear set when it comes to run and gun playstyle. And we are pairing it with the beautiful Ouroboros SMG, which is also a pretty crazy SMG when it comes to a playstyle like this. And both of these together is so good that it feels like a match made in heaven. And we're also adding the recently buffed up Intimidate talent, and it's just a complete powerhouse of a build that can clear content without an issue. But we're also not using a Memento backpack. So all of this is happening without a Memento backpack. Let me show you what I mean by it. All right. Now, I don't want to spend much of time explaining the build because I'm pretty sure a lot of people know how to make a Hunter's Fury build, but I will still do it a little bit because of, maybe new players are watching it. Now, there will be timestamp for everything, especially for the damage comparison at the end of the video. You can go check that out as well. So let me show you my build. So this is the build I am using right now. You can see I'm using Gunner Specialization mainly because of the 10% armor on kill that it gives you. And obviously refills your mag in a way. Also, it gives you bonus armor, which is actually pretty important. And I want to talk about that in the, shooting range. You'll know what I mean by it there. Now, the weapon obviously we're using is the Ouroboros SMG, which you can get it from the Incursion. By playing the Incursion, you can get it. You can get it from a boss. Any boss can give you this weapon. It's like a 1% chance. But at the final box, you can just open it and you'll have a 10% chance to get it from there. And you could try that 10% chance every week, or you can just keep farming the bosses for 1% chance if you want. So yeah, that. Now, the talent on this weapon, honestly, is kind of meh. It doesn't really matter, the rule them all talent. So it is what it is. Like, it's just there, whatever. But the cool thing about the weapon is that we get crit damage, crit chance, rate of fire, and reload speed there. So it kind of helps you build your build, right? But the main thing about this weapon is that we get that RPM. The RPM is 1485, which is a lot of RPM to be honest, and it just shreds. It literally just melts through armor easily. It just takes out your targets. Whichever targets you aim at is going to absolutely obliterate them, okay? This is that good. Now, if you don't have Ouroboros, you could use something like the Dark Winter, which also has a very high RPM, like 1200. And the max size is a bit low, but you do get the killer talent, the perfect killer talent. So it's also a really good damage there. But remember, you have to get a crit kill to activate perfect killer. If you don't get that crit kill, it won't activate, which is kind of sad. Otherwise, it's a very good weapon. But to be honest, you probably will end up getting Ouroboros before you can get yourself a Dark Winter. Like, trust me, it will happen. It can happen. There's a high possibility of happening it. Now, if you don't have both of these weapons, you can currently right now, if you're watching this video in this week, then you can buy a similar weapon from Cassie Mendoza. She is selling a Vector SBR 9mm SMG with the maxed out damage to target out of cover with a measured talent. The measured talent is a pretty good talent as well. You can use it or you can change it whatever talent you want. But yeah, it has maxed out damage to target out of cover, and it's a Vector as well. So it also got that 1200 RPM. So you could use that weapon on this build until you get any one of these, right? Or you can just use any other SMG. If you want to use a, SIG MPX, you can use a SIG MPX. Or if you want to say like, you know what, I don't want to use SMG, I'm going to use shotgun. You can use a Scorpio. You can do that. It's no problem. You can definitely use it. But obviously, using the Ouroboros with this, it's way more fun. Like, that's the main thing, have fun. This is, honestly, for me, it's fun. Now, for the Hunter's Fury, we obviously have Hunter's Fury that gives us, SMG damage and 15% shotgun damage as well. So, yeah, that's what it does. For 2 PS and 3 PS, it gives you armor on kill, 20%. If you're using Gunner, it will be 30% armor on kill. So that's pretty good. The health on kill is 50% now instead of 100%. So it's kind of nerfed, like 50% nerfed there. I don't really understand the reason behind it. Like, we're not pairing with any high amount of health brand or gear set. So I don't really understand. But it is what it is. But the main thing is the 4-piece set bonus, which is the Apex Predator talent that gives you 20% of amplified damage to enemies within 15 meters. You'll see like a red marker on top of their head, means they are debuffed, so you can do more damage to them. And the talent is active. Now, the second tier of the talent also gives you more damage. Every time you get a kill, you build up a stack of 5% of amplified damage, and you can get like 5 more stacks of it. So 5 kills gives you 25%, and that's a lot of damage. You can get 45% of amplified damage by this talent, which is kind of crazy. And it also provides you with a nice utility where you get a kill, and the other NPCs around the enemy you just killed will kind of get like confused, which is nice. It's like a CC, which is pretty good and very handy when you get surrounded by enemies. So yeah. Now, as for these stats, my attributes, I have weapon damage, crit damage, and I have a crit chance mod here. We got weapon damage and crit damage pretty much everywhere. You can see weapon damage, crit damage there as well, and weapon damage, crit damage there. Now, as for the high end, I actually chose one piece of Sokolov because that gives us 10% of SMG damage. You can use Sheshka if you're missing crit chance on your build, which I doubt you should be, but if you're a new player, that can happen. So you can use a Sheshka that gives you 10% crit chance. But I chose Sokolov because I have good crit chance. So yeah, that. Now we are using the Intimidate talent, which recently got buffed, and the stacks actually build up really quickly. When you get the bonus armor, you'll see that we're building up Intimidate pretty quickly. So yeah, it's actually very solid damage now, and so why not use it? It's a very, very high damage, way higher than obviously Obliterate there, and it's doing it in a consistent basis now, which is good. That's why we're choosing this. It's amazing, to be honest. Now, as for the backpack, we chose the Grupo here, which gives us 15% of crit damage. Now, you don't have to use a Grupo. You can kind of use 2 pieces of Sokolov, because 2 pieces of Sokolov will do the same thing, or should I say it will give you the same attribute, which 1 piece of Sokolov and 1 piece of Grupo would do. So if you have 2 pieces, you can use that. Now, we're using the Bloodsucker talent here on the backpack because every time you get a kill, we get bonus armor, and we can stack this bonus armor, and it's a lot of bonus armor. There is actually a trick to this bonus armor, which I will talk about in the, the shooting range, because I want to show you there. It's a very solid, talent. It's way better, obviously, than Memento on an all-red build, because with Memento, when you collect the Memento trophy, you don't get as much bonus armor on a red build, like full red build, that you would do from bonus armor from the Bloodsucker. Like, you get the kill, you get insane amount of bonus armor stacking up with Bloodsucker, which is really high. But if you want to use Memento, you can definitely use Memento. It gives you, weapon damage. It gives you bonus armor. Obviously, you need to pick up the trophies, and gives you armor regen there. So yeah, that's a choice. If you try to use Obliterate talent on chest piece, you can definitely use the Memento backpack there. So yeah, that's pretty much the build. If I show you my stats here, you can see very good, like 53% crit chance, 166 crit damage. That's why I didn't need crit chance much on the build. And my chest piece doesn't even have crit chance there. It has weapon handling. So otherwise, I would be sitting at 59%, I believe. So yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty much the build here. All right. Now, if you guys didn't pay attention to how much damage I was doing with all the video footage that I showed you guys, don't worry. I'm going to show you how much damage you can actually do with this build on the shooting range. I'm actually going to show you in 2 different ways. One, we want to get fully proc the Hunter's Fury buff, the Apex Predator talent. And the other one, which will only going to test the first half of the damage from, the Apex Predator talent, right? So let's just test it normally. I do have a little less, weapon damage on the chest piece, but it's all right. We have 3% over here as expertise. It kind of balances out, right? All right, so let's do it. So normally without any buff, just Hunter's Fury active, we're doing at around 363k. Yeah, 363k on the body without Intimidate or anything. So, that's kind of sad, but let's just get Intimidate active. So we got the kill, we got Bloodsucker, and we have Intimidate now. And you can see we're already doing 542,000. So let's keep getting the kills. So that way Hunter's Fury's second half of the buff gets active, the 25% amplified damage. Okay, so now we are at the full maxed out buff here. So you can see we're doing 659,901. Yep, that's a lot of damage on a weapon that is hitting at 1485 RPM. Like, seriously, that's a lot of damage. And one thing, if you may have not noticed, or maybe did, which is hard to miss, the bonus armor. Look at that. It's an all-red build, and we're getting so much bonus armor from Bloodsucker, which is kind of crazy. So you can see the damage is really, really high here. Yeah. Now, one cool thing I want to show you about Bloodsucker talent is that if you take damage, but I mean, for that, you need to take a lot of damage. Like, look at that. So I'm just want to try to get rid of the bonus armor. So once we took a lot of damage and we get a kill, Bloodsucker actually remembers how much bonus armor you kind of had, which is a cool thing. So you don't have to build up from the beginning, right? So that's a really good thing. With Memento, if you lose your bonus armor, you have to keep getting the kills and stack up the bonus armor again. But with Bloodsucker, as long as you have the buff with you, it remembers how much bonus armor you had and it gives you back again once you get the kill. So that's a cool thing about Bloodsucker. And you don't have to go around and chase the trophies like in Memento you do. And in an all red build, Memento doesn't give you that much of bonus armor, to be honest. You need blue cores, right? Now I want to show you the Hunter's Fury damage without the, the second half. Okay, so for that we need to change this to Invulnerable Elite because, if we get kills, Hunter Fury gets active. We need to make sure we don't get any kills, right? Now, you could say, okay, so if we don't get kills, how are we going to activate our, bonus armor with the Bloodsucker? Don't worry about that. Because we can activate bonus armor by just armor kitting ourselves because we're using gunner specialization. See? Bonus armor. Boom. Now, you can see normally you would do, like when you started the fight, you're probably going to be doing 517,000, which is, again, a really good amount of damage. And then when you keep getting the kills, Hunter's Fury stack up the damage even further, and then it'll take you to that 660k mark. So that's a really solid amount of damage on a build like this, with a lot of bonus armor from Bloodsucker. So I feel like this is a better choice rather than using the Memento there. Now, by all means, use Memento and try it out, but I still recommend using a high-end backpack with the Bloodsucker on it because you just saw how much bonus armor we got. And especially if you're using Intimidate talent. Now, if you go for Obliterate talent, then sure, you could just use Memento there for survivability because you get, armor regen. You also get some damage there. So yeah, you could use that. But if you're trying on Intimidate, then highly recommend you to use Bloodsucker talent on the backpack, right? So definitely give it a try and let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Again, you don't have to use the Ouroboros. Ouroboros is a great weapon, but if you don't have it, you can use the Dark Winter. To be honest, like I said, you can get the Ouroboros way before you can get a Dark Winter. Yeah, it can happen. Or just use the weapon that Cassie is selling. It's actually pretty good rolls there, so you should get it and try it out. Or use any other weapon you want. You can use SMGs. If not SMG, use a Scorpio shotgun. It's totally up to you, but I find this is more fun with the Ouroboros, the run and gun playstyle, aggressive playstyle. We're getting the kills, we're getting the bonus armor, we're getting the armor on kill back, and it just keep on going. So if you want to farm XP, you're doing like control points, you're doing missions, you can just slap on this build and absolutely obliterate everything by using Intimidate, not Obliterate. I mean, you could use Obliterate, but yeah, it's a very solid build. You should definitely give it a try. And the reason why I am not also putting Memento here, because I don't want new players to go farm for 2 exotics to make a build, which is, first they have to get Memento and then, Ouroboros there as well. So yeah, right now you could just keep on focusing on that Ouroboros if you want that. And you should. It's a very good weapon. You can use it on many builds, right? Not just Hunter's Fury. So do let me know your thoughts in the comment section, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Till then, peace.